friends, Jerry Rosa here, the Rosa String Works Workshop. We have a really cool guitar repair for you today. This is a 1919 L1 Gibson. It is cool. One of the coolest instruments that's been in the shop in quite a while. Unfortunately, I lost the before videos. I had a bunch of video of the instrument as it came in the shop and what it looked like and some different things. So basically we're picking up in the middle of working on this thing here, and I apologize for that, but I just can't find the video. I know I had more, so but I think we get the meat of it and I think you'll enjoy it. So enjoy. We're back working on the Gibson, and the problem, of course, is this break across here, across the heel of the neck, and it does come loose, or it does open up, I should say, when you get string tension under there. The back has been off of here. There's been a lot of extensive work on this, and what I did was just a simple test. I took a magnet and stick it right here, and sure enough, it does attract. Not real strong, but there's a screw in there. You can just feel it. So I can feel it pulling that down to that screw. So we're going to dig this out of here, take the screw out, and see what kind of damage we've got going on. It appears that they may have put a wooden plug on top of the screw. I can tell, I know there's a screw there, but when I start picking at it, it does feel like there's wood there. So I have a feeling there's a plug here, and so we're just going to use the Dremel tool to knock this out. We definitely have a screw. It's down in there. Whoever did it tried to do a real good job and put a plug in there above it and make it look better. It would be very nice if the screw comes out and this whole thing just opens up. Then we might have a chance of fixing it pretty easily. You can see that they rounded the head of the screw way off to let it fit down in the hole. I'll show you that here in just a moment as soon as we get it the rest of the way out. It appears that it did go down through and make an attachment. You can see here that they rounded the head of it off, which is a smart thing. Whoever did it tried to do a very good job. You know, I'm not knocking what they did. We're going to see if we can't do it better, though. We're going to try to make it fix where it'll never break again. Okay, we've pretty much got the guitar disassembled down to its bare bones, other than the tuning keys are still on it. But we've got the screw out, and if I hold here and pull on the neck, I can definitely see that open up a little bit. The problem is, it's not very much, and even a syringe won't fit down in that crack. It's very tiny. The inside is what I'm going to look at now and see if we can see the crack extending through the neck block. Well, I can see here, oh my goodness, I see stuff I really wish I wouldn't have seen. We'll have to get the inside camera and show you this. What you are looking at is the cleat that is going up and down vertically on the sides. You can see the crack in the side there, and those dark things are actually nails, believe it or not. Kinda wish I hadn't seen that. And on this other side, there's more cleats and nails going through. Now, we don't normally nail cleats to guitars. I'll explain. Well, I think you can see from that footage we're dealing with something unusual. Oh my gosh. I never would have dreamed it. Now I'm taking a magnet. I'm going to see, can I feel those? Are they metal? I mean, are they steel, or are they brass, or what are they? I don't feel anything there. Wait a minute. I think I do. Yep, I do. It's right there. Now that's weird, because it doesn't look like there's any scar on the outside, so apparently the nail doesn't go all the way through. I know why they did it. They were using those for handles. They put those nails in there before they stuck it in there. That's what they did. Those cleats have handles on them to stick them inside there. Now the problem is, and we've talked about this before, and some people have given me grief that my hands are not any bigger than anybody else's. They're not going in this hole. Not at all. I mean, I can get my first fingers in there, and if I got my hand in there, I doubt I could get it out. I mean, seriously, it's a knuckle buster going in this hole. This is a tiny hole. But if you don't believe my hands are big, try 13 keys on a piano. Next time you're near a piano, see how many keys you can push down, and if you can do more than 13, I want to know about it. But anyway, the point is, that's what they did. They used those for handles. And so it must have been somebody with small hands that reached inside there, held onto those, and held them up there while the glue was setting or whatever. Well, that's got to come out of there. And once again, it's like building a ship in a bottle, because I can't go inside. This has got to be done from the outside. Whatever we do, here we go. You probably remember my reverse chisel that I made for the last repair. Well, I had to modify it. It's no longer a hook back like it used to be. It's now a hook to the side. I also had to bend it up a little bit right here where I can go in through the sound hole, reach up here and get behind those little braces, those cleats, and see if we can get them off of there. It's still very, very sharp. Here we go. We're inside, and you can see the cleats and the nails, and now there's the tool being inserted. The thing you have to understand here, and I already understand this, is that I'm not going to be able to pry against the side to pry that off. If I tried that, prying against the side, it's going to bust the side out. So I'm trying to slide the tool behind the little cleat and just pop it off or pull it off or something like that. Unfortunately, I was not successful. Well, not so much luck so far. I can reach in there and I can get a hold of it, but see, you know, you got to be careful. You go start prying this way and you're going to pry that, bust the side of the guitar, you know, so you can't do any prying. You have to pull and shave, or you have to pull and maybe just break it loose. Well, whatever they used, it's on there pretty tight. You know, if I really thought that the sides were fine, I'd leave them alone, but I don't think the sides are fine. I think they might be, actually. It's difficult to tell. I can definitely see movement, but it looks like all the movement's in the neck. Doesn't look like it's anything going on in these joints. But that's really hard to tell. Based on how hard those things are to get out of there, I'd say that the sides are okay. It's just the neck is the problem. But then again, I hate leaving those big clunky things in there with the nails in them. Guess you'd say it's kind of against my morals to leave those in there, but on the other hand, if you're going to do more harm than good fixing it, it may not be a good idea to fix it. And I don't see or feel any movement on the sides. The sides themselves feel okay. It's all right here in this neck right here, which is not such great news. It'd be okay if that joint would open up enough that I would feel confident in getting glue back in there, then I wouldn't have much problem with that. But that's not the case. I mean, that joint just barely opens up. I'm sure if I put it under heavy string tension, I could get it to open up more. And maybe that's what I'll have to do. Maybe I'll actually have to string it up with some heavy strings and pull it up here so that I can get enough opening there to get glue back in there. That's a possibility. I may end up having to do that. I was just really hoping to try to improve this through here too, but I honestly cannot make that move, so that may be fine. It doesn't sound like it's patting on it, I don't hear anything rattling, moving loose or anything right along those joints. So I think it's just the joint right here. I think it's just the joint right here. Well, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I put the strings back on here. Just a bunch of single strings laying around here, and I just stuck them on here, and I miss it. I didn't have one for the second string here. But anyway, I put them on, and I put 5 of them on, and I tightened them up a little tighter than standard. And you can see the crack opened up just a little bit, but I'm telling you, we're still talking just a very little bit. It's, you know, a single edge razor blade fits snug in the crack. Well, what I've noticed, even though I've got extra tension on those strings, is it doesn't open up enough. But if I lay it down like this, I press my hand up here, and I press this hand here a little bit, then it opens up, you know, a fairly good amount more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp this down to the table with a clamp here. I'm going to take another one of those squeeze clamps and just squeeze this down until I see this get as open as I think I can trust it. And then we're going to find a way to get glue in here, and hopefully a syringe will fit in there, but I don't think it will. I think we're just going to be painting it back in there, and maybe even using air to blow it back in there, something like that. But we'll find a way to get glue back in there. All right, just so everybody understands, a glue syringe won't even start in there. You know, if it won't go in there, there's not much point in trying to use it, although it's a possibility that I could use it right at the front and force glue back some. And we'll try that, because I'll try anything, but I don't think that's even going to do much, but we'll see what it does do. Before I do that, though, I'm going to paint water on here. Again, I'm a firm believer in that glue following the water. A lot of experience with that, so I'm going to get some water, warm water, and we're going to paint water around this and let that water soak back in there. I'm pretty sure I'll get the question, well, did you clean the crack out? Well, yes and no. You know, you can't get in there very good. I took a single edge razor blade and worked it in there as much as I can and scraped around as much as I can, but you can't get in there. So because of that, I'm pretty sure that whoever repaired this before didn't get glue in there anyway. So I don't think there's much glue in there to take out. I really don't. Anyway, so all we're doing right now is painting water on the crack. Again, I'm relying on the capillary action to suck the water back in there, and it's something that I know does work. And I'm also getting the front of the paintbrush in there, oh, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or a little more than that probably, and that helps get the water back in there. I'm also going to drop water down the hole, the screw hole, and hopefully that will let water flood in there. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to do better than that. I think I'm going to suck it in like this, put water down through here, and see if I can blow water out the hole here. Yes, I can. Look at that. Now we're cooking. Water came out everywhere. Yes! That's awesome. That's very good. And that means we've got her soaked in there good, which means that the glue will follow that now. I'm just soaking it, seeing if I can suck any extra water out of the crack there now. I don't. What I'm going to do is just blow air in there now to blow the extra water out, and I can see it coming out. All right. We've got a real plan now. Now I'm going to get my air hose. I'm going to pour glue down in here. I'm going to take my air hose with like just 1 or 2 pounds of pressure, stick it on here, and see if we can blow the glue out everywhere here. I think we've got a plan. All right, just as a little bit of a test run, I've got an air hose, got a rubber end on it. I'm going to poke that rubber end down in here. I barely have any air pressure. You can hear it's just barely blowing. I mean, we're just talking a little bit of air pressure. But look at that. It blows that water right out of there. Perfect. And it's even blowing it in this crack here. I can see it. So that's good. Now let's take some glue and fill this hole up with some glue and just see if we get lucky. Just to see what happens here. What's probably going to happen is it's going to blow all over me. I'm just barely putting any air pressure to it. See if we can see glue start to come out. Well, the hole's empty, it looks like, so the glue's going somewhere. It probably has to fill up the screw hole first before it's going to start forcing out. Oh yeah, I think we're going to make some progress. There's the first little bit of glue coming out. Look at that. Look at that, folks. It's coming out on this side too. And we're got an empty hole, so we'll put some more glue in there. Heck, I might use this next time I have a problem like this. I might just drill a air hole, tiny air hole. That might be a good fix down the road. Look at that. It's coming out everywhere. Almost solid now. Not quite solid, but when we get enough glue in there, it probably will. I would say I only have about 4 or 5 pounds of air pressure on this, and I'm barely squeezing it because I know how this air pressure works. It's pretty strong. So I've got just a minimal amount of air pressure. It's coming all the way up to the front now. It's almost all the way to the back. Well, one thing about it, I am definitely confident we've got glue in there. That is an awesome, awesome method. And the more I do it, the further I see it going. Now it's all the way out to the front. It's almost to the very farthest back crack. Maybe if I can stop up some of the air on the front here, we'll get it out to the very back crack. Yep, that worked. That worked. I'm amazed. I am absolutely amazed. I'll tell you what, drilling a little tiny pilot hole, you don't need a hole as big as this. You could get by with a little tiny pilot hole with if you have a rubber nozzle that you could put down and seal a hole, you could blow the air through it. I think we've done a good thing here. I am so tickled with the way that worked, because that's always hard to do. I'm just going to put my fingers on it, and yep, it's coming all the way out to the back. Awesome. All right. I think we can take these clamps off of here, release the pressure. Now we'll take the strings off. Just taking the string tension off of there and everything, you can see the glue squeeze out, which is a very good thing. We're going to put a clamp right across here. I'm not worried about the fretboard side. The frets will kind of protect that with this plastic clamp. And I am going to put a piece of leather right here. And squeeze her down just as tight as we can squeeze it. Very good. Very good, very good. I couldn't be more happy with the way that turned out. Knowing what I know about that kind of glue, and I believe the glue joint was clean, I think that's a permanent fix. You can still see it's still weeping out of there. tighten it up as much as I can, and it's still weeping out, so that's a good sign. Well, this is one of the things I have had to do twice. I ordered a die to cut the threads on that pickguard wire and for this old Gibson, and I ordered a 6x40. Well, because I just I didn't really know how to measure it to tell if it was a 6 or what it was, but I noticed that they were selling a die that was a 6x40, and I knew it was 40 threads per inch because I did measure that. So I just assumed that it would be 6x40. Well, as my luck turned out, it's actually smaller. When I got the die in, it was too big for this. So I looked, and they had a 5x40. So I ordered the 5x40 just on chance, and sure enough, it does fit. So it actually does work. I've screwed it on here. You know how it works on camera, you can't do it. But yeah, there it goes. It went right on. And so it is a 5x40, and now I'm going to go cut the threads in these new wires, and we'll put that pick guard back together. I think you can see the originals that were broken in two, and you can see how they've just corroded in two. And here's the replacement. And here is the other original corroded in two, and here's the replacement. And so you probably won't even be able to tell it once I get it all back together that this ever broke. It's the next day, and we're about to take the clamp off of here, see what we've got. And I'll tell you what, I truly could not be more happy with that. Putting the glue down through that hole and blowing it out was absolutely the answer. It just spread that glue everywhere. That is clamped tighter than a bull's butt at fly time. You will never see that open up again, I don't think. It's sad that we are going to have to leave those nail cleats in there, but it's just part of the way this thing was made. Whoever glued them in there, they glued them in there well. That part they did well. They didn't need the little handles on them, I don't think, but I guess they thought they did. And perhaps they did, going through that little tiny sound hole, because that is a little bitty sound hole. I mean, it's a small one. All right, now we're at the point where we need to repair the hole here in the end. Now, one way it would be just to fill it and call it good. But since the hole's already there, the damage is already done. Now, keep in mind, I did not drill this hole. This was the way it came to me. All I did was get rid of the screw that was in there. So the hole, I've already tested it, is about a 1/4 inch size. I have a 1/4 inch drill. I'm going to need to drill it almost to the full depth of this drill bit, and that'll put it way down into the neck here. Then I'm going to insert a hardwood dowel pin and glue that in place. And that'll just be added insurance here that this won't pull apart down the road. Since the hole's already here, we might as well do it. Okay, that should be deep enough. Alright, now this dowel pin's going to have to be forced down in there. What I'm going to do is check the depth of the hole first, and you can check that with almost anything. So we know where our hole's about so deep. So I'm going to cut this pin off just a little bit longer than I need. Okay, as you can see, I've already cut the dowel off to approximate length of what I need, although I've actually cut it off long, so I know I'll have some sticking out of the hole when we're finished here. Now the trick of this is that this is tight. If I drove it in here as it is, it would probably go to the bottom without any trouble. But once I get glue in here, it's not going to go down. It's going to be air compression is going to keep this from going to the bottom. So how do you avoid that? Well, the pro tip today here is that we're going to cut a groove down the length of this dowel. And that groove will let air and glue pass through as we're driving it down in there. If you don't have that groove, you're pretty much up against it when you got a tight hole that you're putting a dowel into. Hopefully you can see I have cut a groove all the way down the length of that dowel, and that will let the glue and the air travel up that hole. Otherwise you won't be able to drive it in there. So now we're going to coat everything with glue and put this in place. Alright, I've cleaned that hole out to make sure there's not a lot of shavings down in there. We're going to just pour a little glue in the hole. And we're going to take a paintbrush and work it up and down in that hole. Yeah, we know we got the hole coated good. Now we're going to put a little bit of glue on the dowel itself and coat the dowel up pretty good. I have the guitar neck supported by a folded up towel here to absorb the shock as I'm hitting this, because you can't, it's not just going to push in there, it's going to be tighter than that, but we should be able to drive it in. Could you hear the difference in sound? That tells you hit the bottom. It was going and going and going, and then all of a sudden it says, okay, that's it. Now we'll wipe this up and cut this off flush. I've cut off the dowel here and got it flush. I'm just not happy with the way this turns out, and I can see a little fine line in the finish here where they've apparently maybe put this heel plate on here in the past. So I'm just going to cut it back off, and I'm just going to put a new heel plate on here where you won't be able to tell that this was ever repaired. At least not from this part anyway. I think you can see I've removed the little heel plate that was on here, and it had already been cut across here anyway, so I thought I might as well just remove that heel plate. That will allow me to make a new heel plate, put on here, and you will never see that dowel. No matter how good you fill it, no matter how good you dye it, you'll always see that dowel on the end there if you let it come all the way through. So I found a scrap piece of ebony here, and I planed it down in my thickness planer so that it matches this perfectly. You can't even feel it. And now we'll just draw around that and cut that out. I've spent an extra 15 minutes or better just really tweaking the fit on this to make sure it fits perfect so that I don't have to try to file it or anything after I get it on here. And really, you can't hardly feel it at all. So it's about as good as you can make one fit with, before you glue it on. And it flows right through here too, so I think we're in pretty darn good shape. The edge here is very sharp. I'm just going to try to dull that edge on some fine sandpaper just so that the edge right here isn't catching yourself, because it is kind of sharp. Well, the neck heel repair turned out, I think, beautiful. You can see it if you look really close, but you don't know if it was original or not by looking at it. So I think it turned out just perfect. The crack has almost disappeared. It's so tight. I'm so proud of that repair. Now I'm just going around. I'm taking some very dark brown leather dye, and I'm just touching up all these light scratches on the surfaces in different places, and I'm just trying to paint them right in the crack so I don't get them anywhere else. And then I just wipe it right back off, and it almost makes the crack just disappear. You can still see it, of course, but it sure does make it better where you don't see it so far like across the whole room, Just getting ready to do a fret leveling on this and just clean up this fretboard. But I noticed there's a couple of high frets. I'll just put a little drop of super glue right along the fret here, like that. Then I kind of wipe up the excess. I take something, like a screwdriver. It doesn't have to be a screwdriver. And I press that fret down, and then I generally spritz it with the instant set so that it'll set really quick and I don't have to sit here and hold it for 20 minutes. That's usually all it takes right there. And that fret is down. And I'll look around and see if I see any other ones, and we'll make sure they're all down. Okay, I'm about ready to set up this pick guard, put it back together. I'm looking at the parts, and you can probably see that this is bent under here pretty good. It's in the length of it, it's probably an 1/8 inch bend, if that. Maybe not quite that much, but almost. And so I'm just sitting here debating on how much of this I want to fix. I really think we need to fix it because this is up off of here. That's supposed to be tight. So, you know, that maybe bending that back will straighten that out too. Anyway, there's some bends here, so I'm going to take some time. Probably not even going to film it, but I'm going to just straighten up all this stuff here and get it working nice and smooth and make sure that the cams are working correctly and all that. Well, I think I made a major improvement. You can see it's almost perfectly straight, and this fits down snug tight on there now like it's supposed to. Now that won't let that slide when it does that. That's what you want. You want that to work up tight. This little brass piece inside here is supposed to catch these notches. And I'm trying to decide if it's in a notch or if it's just missing the notches altogether. I think it's missing them altogether. I thought maybe there was a third notch, but I think it's missing them. So we're going to see if we can straighten that up too. There it is. Now it's down in the notch like it's supposed to be. Well, it actually just popped up again. Problem with that is that it's been bent and it's sprung the wrong way, and I don't know how to unspring that. So you just have to live with it. I'll look at that off camera here and see if I can figure out a way to spring that the opposite way. There's almost no way to do that because you can't bend it the way you need to spring it that way.
Coffee, tea, and soda pop written on the faded window sign. Ruby and Pearl are her best friends. There you'll find the three of them. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30. You can set a watch by their routine. Classic small town Norman Rockwell scene. They talk about the wheres and whens, a little gossip now and then about who's doing what, maybe why. You mean to tell me you don't know about what's her name and so? Can you believe that old coot's still alive? Their own little corner of the world. Oh, for Ruby and
Well, looky here, friends. Look what just woke up and said hello to the world. Isn't that something? Yeah, I'm happy with this. I got a capo on here. I'm going to play you a little tune on it here in just a moment. Look at that shine in the back there. We buffed her out and You know, it don't look perfect by any stretch, but it looks like a well cared for old instrument. That old neck joint's holding good. The back seems to be fine. That heel cap I put on there looks good. Got the end pin in here, it looks good. I think we're just in a good shape here. It's talking to the world again. Let's see what I can mess up on it. My good gal's trying to make a fool out of me. Yeah, my gal's trying to make a fool out of me. She's trying to make me believe I ain't got the old TB. I got the TB blue. Yeah, I got the TB blue. Well, I hope you enjoyed a good look at a 1919 L1 Gibson. I think that is a cool guitar with the nails inside and all. But you know, it is what it is. The whole thing tells a story. You don't want to change it too much. I got to be honest with you, it's buzzing a little bit up in these upper frets. I'm going to talk to the customer and see if he wants me to take it that step further and fix all that, or if that's an issue with him. You know, I hate to do too much more on the thing. I think I'm running into a few dollars now, and I don't want to, you know, run up his bill. So I'll talk to him and see what he says about it. Thank you for watching.